Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Another NFL betting preview presented by EliteSportsBetting.com. I am Austin, giving you the kind of short slate in the NFL today, breaking down each game. A lot of teams are on bye. I think we have 6 games at 1 o'clock, 4 at the 4 o'clock, which will be nice if you're watching Red Zone all day. I'm going to give it a few minutes here, or I shouldn't say minutes, a few moments here to people to file in before I get started. We going top to bottom, starting off with Cincinnati and Baltimore. If you do miss this show, it ends 2 weeks or 2 hours before kickoff, but Twitch at Elite Betting, hit the follow button there. YouTube, Elite Sports Network, hit the subscribe button there, and we you can go back through, and each game will pop up. We'll have the banners up. You can go back and hear the breakdown for each game. So, just give me one more second here, and I'll get into the first game. All right. Cincinnati and Baltimore. Baltimore currently minus 6.5. His totals come down all week to 45.5. This was an unfortunate one for me. I bet the over at a worse number, 46.5 earlier in the week. I still like it. I know Villanueva is questionable today. Sammy Watkins is out. Latavius Murray, I'm not really worried about that. But Tavon Young, Patrick Queen are questionable as well. Bozeman on the offensive line for Baltimore, also questionable. So those are concerns to have. We look at Cincinnati. They're pretty healthy. A couple guys on defense are questionable. So, again, it helps the case for the over, but we've seen this come down. Look at Baltimore, top 10 in EPA per play. Cincinnati has been, about average. Cincinnati's is an interesting team. They haven't been as efficient as you would like. They've moved the ball plenty well in their games this year. They played the Vikings defense, was pretty good. The Bears defense was pretty solid. Pittsburgh's defense, which is good. Jaguars, not so great. Packers, meh, and the Lions, meh. So I think we'll go through 420 yards last week, 24 points, 3 weeks ago. 367 against Green Bay, 22. Obviously, they missed a bunch of field goals in that field goal miss fest. And then 400 yards last week against Detroit. They ended up with 34. I think there's, Baltimore shut down the Chargers last week. I think we might be overreacting to how the defense played in that one. I still think this defense can give up points. So I do expect Cincinnati to score, and then obviously Baltimore with their offense and what Lamar Jackson and Cruz on. Again, they might be down 2 guys on the offensive line, but I still think that this offense, it's just Lamar's playing at just a different level today. Baltimore's defense, top 15 in EPA per play. The Bengals are top 10. Offenses for the Bengals that they face, not that great, right? The Vikings offense, I'll say, is good. They've been a little up and down this year. Chicago's offense, bad. Pittsburgh's offense, bad. Jags offense, bad. Detroit offense, bad. A lot of bad defenses in there. So average-ish unit probably when you're adjusting for schedule. That's where they're sitting in my model. So I think this has points. I don't know if this is going to get to 45. That'd be great, but I think 45.5 is worth a play. I know betting at 10 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday before the game start isn't great, but you can get 45.5 minus 109 out there right now, and I think that's a good over. So spread in this game, I make a slight lean towards Baltimore with the injuries on the offensive line that probably washes out to something like, if you want to get into cluster injuries. I probably am not going down that road, but I like the over there. Both teams, Baltimore likes run ball, but they can throw it as well. They've been throwing it more often this year. Cincinnati hasn't been as efficient, but I think this is a game today. Burrow, Chase, they're starting to come into their own. 45.5 just seems a touch low for me, so I like the over there. Carolina and the New York Giants. Giants are +3 with a little bit of VIG attached to that, 42.5 with a little bit of VIG towards the over. I got this under earlier at EliteSportsBetting.com at 43. Probably pretty similar number. I got -109 right now. You can get 42.5 at +103, but the 43 is a key number there. So I'm happy to have the 43 in my pocket. Another game where these low totals in the NFL get really dicey again, because if you get one stretch of just ridiculous play, or Danny Dimes turns it over, gives Darnold and crew short field. But I want to go to Carolina here. I'll start with them. Offensively, they rank in the bottom 10 in the NFL, EPA per play. If we look at success rate, 11th to worst, 11th worst in the NFL. If we look at the defenses that they've played, Jets defense, I don't think Jets defense is a great unit. I don't think it's horrible, but okay. Saints defense is good. Houston defense, not good. Dallas defense, maybe average, probably below average. Philly defense, bad. Vikings defense, good. So they've probably faced a below average schedule in terms of defense, and they're still not putting up points. This Darnold, I love Joe Brady, but Darnold's still just not that guy. They just don't have the pieces. Christian McCaffrey obviously re-aggravated that injury. He's out again. Terrace Marshall's not going today. So I just don't see. And the Giants defense is okay by my model rating. It's not a good unit, but I feel like it's a unit that can stick around. They're 11th worst in EPA per play. Very poor in what's it called? Success rate. But if I go back and look through, Denver's offense, bad. Washington offense, bad. Atlanta offense, maybe average. New Orleans offense, close to average. And then Dallas and the Rams really have lit them up for 44 and 38 points the last 2 weeks. I don't think Carolina can do that today. I think we're seeing this number a little bit inflated because of that. When I say a little bit, it's 42.5. It's really hard to go much lower, and it's just like points kind of automatically get scored in games, right? But like we look at Denver put up 27 on this first game of the year. I'm not really too worried about that. Even last week, they only gave up 365 yards. The Giants did against the Rams. They got smoked by Dallas, but again, I don't think that Carolina can do this. We've seen Carolina this year really struggle to score points, and really, for the most part, struggle to gain yards. 19, 26, 24, 28, 18, and 28 this year. So I'll say it again. That it's just a bad team, or sorry, two bad offenses and defenses that I think are okay. Shaq Thompson isn't going for Carolina today. The Giants, we'll look at their injury report. Kind of a mess, right? It's been a mess for them all year. Darius Slayton looks to be back, though. They do lose Golladay. Ben Bredesen, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, all looking good to go. They lose Tony. That's a big point. Tony's very dynamic for them. So Danny Shelton is doubtful, which isn't great. But I just don't think either offense is great. Just turnovers is what's going to kill you here. Both of these quarterbacks can't get turnover happy here. But 43, this is 21-20 type of game. 2017, Carolina. How many times has Carolina hit this number? Once against Dallas, and last week against the Vikings. So again, Vikings above average offense. Dallas, I would say an elite offense. The two times that they've got there, and the New Orleans, I would say technically the Giants have only got there 3 times, one being Washington game. That game was absolutely absurd in the second half. New Orleans game in regulation was 21-21, which would not have gotten there. I know it was tied, but 42 points in regulation. Dallas game, elite offense. Rams, elite offense. The other 2 games that got there. So I just think this is a little bit inflated. I like this under. I like it at the 42.5. If you can find a 43, that works as well. 42.5 if you can get some lower vig. I know there's some plus money out there. I wouldn't be paying the minus 110 at the 42.5. I'd really want that 43. So yeah, both offenses, I don't love the matchups for them today. Washington at Green Bay. Green Bay minus 8, 46.5 is your total. I didn't play anything in this game. I make this Green Bay minus 9. Just about minus 9. Total, I make about just over 47. So line's pretty much on market here. Maybe a slight lean towards Green Bay. It's tough though. Green Bay again, just the injuries to the offensive line just make it tough. But Preston Smith is questionable today. Darnell Savage is questionable today. Kevin King, I think Kevin King's going to go today. Just off of their roster moves, I would be kind of shocked if he didn't give it a go. But what Green Bay's offensive line, if you can generate pressure, technically Washington has some guys that can generate some pressure. They haven't done it this year. You want to talk about disappointing defenses? This was possibly people were expecting this to possibly be the best, one of the best defenses in the NFL this year. They're bottom 5 EPA per play. They are 11th worst in success rate. So if Green Bay does struggle to protect, could Chase Young and company get a little pressure on them? I don't know. They just haven't been able to do that so far this year. We look at the offenses that Washington has played. Sure, Chargers good, Giants not good, Buffalo good, Atlanta maybe average, Saints a little bit below average, and Chiefs are good as well. It's tough to say. I don't know what we're gonna get. Obviously, Green Bay's offense is very good. We'll see what the injuries on the offensive line do, but they gave up 424 to the Chargers, 481 to the Bills in total yards, and 499 to the Chiefs. So Green Bay should be able to move the ball at ease here. Just how much pressure Washington can get. I think this is a game actually that you can look at watch the first couple minutes, maybe in first quarter, and see how Green Bay's offensive line is holding up. If they're holding up pretty well, I think Green Bay is going to kind of just do whatever they want against this Washington defense. And if not, then maybe Washington gets a little live. But at that point, we might have seen all the value go away. William Jackson not going for Washington this game. Shaka Toney, Cosman, the offensive line, is out as well. McLaurin is going, which is big, and so Antonio Gibson. Those are big for their offensive playmaking. But I don't know. Slightly into the over, maybe, probably not, and then nothing really on the Green. I guess I have a slight lean towards Green Bay, but cluster injuries, the offensive line, I'm not too interested. KC at Tennessee. Possibly the best game of the slates. Yeah, I'm going to say that. KC and Tennessee, best game of the slate. Right now, odds are Tennessee +4, total in this game 57.5. Yeah, I make this just a hair over 57.5. I make Kansas City plus 4.5 here, or sorry, Tennessee plus 4.5. So slight lean towards Kansas City, not enough for me to play it. The total slight lean towards the over. Same thing though, not enough for me to play it. Big news for Tennessee: Julio looks to be good to go. Amani Hooker's questionable. Chris Jackson looks good to go, but Taylor Lewan on the offensive line, he is out. He had that injury last week. where looked like he was knocked out cold. He's out with a concussion. Bud Dupree's questionable. Monty Rice out on the defensive side. AJ Brown is good to go. And then obviously they lost Caleb Farley last week. So if Bud Dupree doesn't go, and with the injuries to what they have in their secondary, probably not a great matchup for Tennessee here. Their defense already is bottom 10 EPA per play. Now, I will say Tennessee has played some solid offenses, right? You have to kind of adjust now, but their defense just still isn't a good unit. Arizona, good. Seattle, good. Indy, I'd say close to average. The Jets and Jags are bad, and then obviously the Bills are good. So still a bad defense, in my opinion, for Tennessee. Doesn't get any easier today with Mahomes and company coming to town. But big news for Kansas City is Chris Jones is upgraded to probable. Bad news is Anthony Hitchens is out. So Chris Jones looks good to go. Kelsey, he was on the list, and Tyreek Hill, they look good to go. Charvarius Ward is still questionable. I don't know if haven't seen an update for him. But obviously this Kansas City defense, second to worst in EPA per play, worst in success rate. Chris Jones maybe can help that a little bit. Again, I think Kansas City got to look at the offenses they face. Cleveland, good. Baltimore, good. Chargers, good. Philly is I would say bad, and they gave up a lot of yards. That game was kind of out of reach, though. Philly did what they always do and make their comeback late. Buffalo, good, and Washington, slightly below average, I guess. So I do think this 57.5, and like I said, I lean a little bit towards the over, and I do lean towards Kansas City, but there's nothing there for me. I could see this game being like 42-35 type of thing here. I'm here for the chili. Tennessee doesn't have much to fear from the KC offense. KC will implode like usual. I'm going to hard disagree there. Chiefs are second in EPA per play this year on offense. They're second in success rate on offense. The Chiefs have struggled, and their lowest point total is 20. They've scored 33 against the Browns, 35 against the Ravens, 42 against the Eagles, 31 against Washington. I don't see Tennessee getting many stops today. Kansas City might not get many stops either, but to not fear Kansas City, probably not smart. But yeah, lean Chiefs, lean over. Not much else to say there on that one. Atlanta and Miami, another game that I'm involved with. Current odds, Miami is a 1.5 point dog. 47.5 is your total. I think this under is worth. I think 47.5 minus 104, minus 105 is still out there. I don't know, like Atlanta's offense. I know Kyle Pitts is. I don't know if I want to say like coming on in a toward way, but they're still a bottom 10 unit in EPA per play. Miami's offense is bottom 5. They're just absolutely downright terrible. I know Tua's back. Maybe we're getting excited about that. But when I look at Atlanta, it's really hard for me to get like that excited. Like they struggled against the Eagles. This was before Brandon Graham went down, so the Eagles defense was a little bit better. They put up points against the Bucs defense, which I don't think is anything great. The Giants defense, they struggled to put up points against. They scored a little bit against Washington. Didn't exactly look great against the Jets. Now that game was in London, so things get a little. They come off a bye, and Miami's defense has been bad. There's no denying that. I don't really know what's happened with Miami's defense, but they're sixth worst in EPA per play, bottom 10 unit in success rate on defense this year. This was, again, kind of like Washington, and people were thinking that this was going to be like a top 10 defense. I don't know if people were going to say top 5, but we look at the offenses that Miami's faced, and like New England, Buffalo. So New England, like average, Buffalo, good, Vegas, I would say above average, Indy, close to average, maybe, Bucks, good, Jags, not good. coming back from London last week. They got to play Atlanta here. I don't know. Like, I don't see their offense really having like a big day here. I know, like, again, we're getting excited about Pitts here, and Ridley. Pitts had the big game last week. Kind of maybe it's just coming out. He's going to be all this great factor for them. I don't know. I just think we're overrating a little bit. Avery Williams is doubtful for Atlanta. Marlon Davis, Eric Harris are probable. They have an injury on the offensive line. Calvin Ridley's again supposed to be back. So I don't know, like, if this Ridley and Pitts thing, like, you're gonna have to kind of share some targets here. We look at Miami. Xavier Howard looks good to go. Couple more injuries on defense. Byron Jones is still questionable. A couple guys are more questionable as well. So maybe, I don't. That's an issue. Sure, Preston Williams is questionable though on offense, and we're already down. Will Fuller, so it's not necessarily this great offensive unit for Miami. They don't throw the ball down the field. They don't try to move. They scored 28 points this year against Vegas. That was with Brissett at quarterback. Tua's back. Tua kind of played okay last week. They still couldn't get the win. So I see Miami's offense as bottom 5 in the league. I see Atlanta's as a below average offense. I rate Atlanta's offense as below average, and same with Miami, and I still cannot get to 47.5 here. So maybe they Flores and company try to get more comfortable, and maybe I'm underrating the value of Pitts and Ridley in the lineup, but I'm still not there. This is just too many for me. The weather in this game, it's going to be, there's no rain or anything, but supposed to be 85, so there could be some issues with if a team gets caught being on the field for too long. That is something to watch. But I played under 47.5, minus 104 earlier in the week. I still think that is worth a play. I think this is a pretty high number for two offenses that have plenty of times this year not looked like they're able to move the ball. Miami is a good teaser leg. Let's say that with Green Bay. Green Bay is a good teaser leg as well. Miami's a good teaser leg. Average total plus 1.5. You get through the 3 and the 7. Green Bay, again, below average total. Get through the 7 and the 3, teasing them down. Miami up. Could pair them together. I'll probably be adding them in some form or fashion here today. Teasing Miami's gross, but fits the bill. Plus 1.5. So Jets at Patriots. Another under here for me, which is kind of scary. I put under 43, minus 116. Current lines, Patriots are minus 7. I don't know. See if we'll come off this 7 here before kick. Total's 43, minus 112. So a little bit of a poor number there for me. I don't know. I think we're overrating Mac Jones. I look at the offensive numbers for New England this year. I know people like to get excited because Belichick and everything. They are 6th worst in the league in EPA per play. The Patriots are. When you talk about success rate, they're a little bit more towards the average. So again, turnovers are probably your biggest issue here with the Patriots. But I look at the defenses they faced. The Dolphins unit has turned out to not be a great one. The Jets unit, again, below average. Saints are good. Bucks are not good. Texans are not good. Dallas, maybe average, but probably below average. So sure, yeah, they put up points. I'm not going to say the Jets are going to be able to slow them down. We saw this game early in the year, 25-6. That was the score. But Mac Jones is just like, he's just so blah. Like there's nothing there that excites me. Now, I don't think their offense is really tailored to have him throw the ball deep all the time or anything like that. They're not going to let him have a bunch of like these big time throws, but like the guys close to them, when you're looking, like I'm looking at completion percentage above expected, which I don't love as a stat. I'm a little bit more happy on the EPA per play side of things, but sure, he's accurate, right? He's getting some easy pitch and catches. He's throwing these short balls. They're not really going deep all that much. Like, actually, now that I think about it, where's his air yards? Yeah, 7.7. So not terrible, but not good. It's actually on par exactly with Mahomes this year, but still not exactly a number that I'm like super excited about. I think he's a below average quarterback right now. And I think he's been kind of graded as like this not above average, but like average to slightly above average quarterback. And I just haven't been impressed. It's the kind of the offense. Remember, we all made fun of Tom Brady because he never threw the ball down the field. This is Mac Jones over again. So like we wanted to say Brady wasn't all that great for all these years. Like, Mac Jones is that again. They put up points against Dallas, sure. However, that game was really really, really close to being an absolute beatdown. New England, they had the 75-yard pass. Sure, I'm not going to take that away from them, but kind of, because outside of that, they were pretty piss poor throwing the ball. And then I go to the other end, right? So I'm not high on New England's offense, and I'm not high on this Jets defense, but I just don't think New England's offense is going to be a team that's going to want Mac like airing it out. Let's win this game 40-14. Belichick against Zach Wilson. I know it's the second time Wilson's facing this Patriots defense, but Belichick against a rookie quarterback. Zach Wilson has been bad, like really bad, just not good. There's really no other way of putting it. The Jets offense this year is last in EPA per play by essentially double. Like the gap between the Jets and the Texans, you could double how bad the Texans have been on offense this year, and they would be right around where the Jets are. Success rate, the Jets aren't as bad, third the worst. Things just aren't good. So this New England defense, I think, is about average. I know Stephon Gilmore went to Carolina, so it's not like they have really a chance to become a lead or anything, but you face the Carolina defense that I think is about average, a Patriots defense that I think is about average, Denver defense above average, Titans defense, which isn't good, and a Falcons defense, which isn't good. So sure, you could adjust the Jets up a little bit because they played kind of a tough schedule, but I don't think there's a lot of success today for Wilson against this Pats defense. They come off a bye. Sure, maybe that helps. Low total, again, 43. I know those are tough in today's NFL, but in the Jets, yeah, overtime game against Tennessee, they hit this number. In London, they hit this number at 47. Again, that game was dead under until the final few minutes, but they didn't even come close. First 3 weeks, 33 points, 31 points, 26 points in their first 3 games. I could see this being much similar to that style of game. Look at injury reports. Jets, CJ Mosley's doubtful. That was a big loss. But I think that could help with New England running the ball more. Again, getting that clock running. Outside of that, they're looking pretty solid. I know Marcus May, he's out but that's not news from recent. That's not recent news. Couple injuries on the New England side of things, which is worrisome. But again, I'm not a lot of questionable. Shaq Mason's questionable on the offensive line, which helps with Ronnie Perkins, Dante Hightower, Bentley, Barmore, Wise, Van Noy, all questionable for today. It's Belichick. His injury reports kind of mean nothing, so I'm not really sure. I'm assuming we get 50% of those guys playing. That's just that's pretty much all you can do with Belichick's injury reports. But again, I don't think either offense has a great advantage here today. I think Zach Wilson struggles against Bill Belichick and his defense. I don't think Mac Jones is all that special. I still like the under 43. I think you're still good to play that. Detroit and the Rams, a game I was interested in earlier in the week, not as much now. I played over 50, minus 110. This is 50.5 to 51 now. Yeah, scary part about this game, and it kind of goes both ways, is if this just turns into like 49-0. Can Detroit get a garbage score? I mean, the Rams are minus 16.5, minus 17 in this game, so should be a pretty easy one for them. Obviously, enough said here about the Rams offense. They're top 5 in EPA per play, top 5 in success rate. The Lions are bottom 3 in EPA per play. Success rate's a little bit better. They're ninth worst. Ninth worst in the NFL. But I've said this before, Goff has been really bad, but I do think this Lions team is able to kind of be a thorn in some people's sides. I'm wondering if that's going to start fading with more people understanding how this offense runs and how they do things. Defense has played okay the last few weeks, but they basically you're going to give up 400 yards if you're the Lions defense. But I don't know. Like, they've scored 33. I know that game was a huge comeback. They were blown out in that first, but 17 against Green Bay. They looked okay on offense before that game became like, excuse me, like a downpour. 17 against Baltimore, 14 against the Bears. They got into the red zone a million times in that game. They just automatically turned it over. 17 against Minnesota, and just 11 last week. So maybe there's a little bit of okay, we're figuring things out on how to play this offense. Obviously, the Rams, the whole revenge angle, if you want to say, the Rams might be able to really confuse Goff because they might know him better than Detroit knows him at this point. I don't know. But if I can get 14 from Detroit, I'm feeling pretty good. Hope 17 would be great. I think like 35 is pretty like a fair number to expect from the Rams today. The Cincinnati basically did whatever they wanted to do against Detroit last week. I think it's going to be the same thing today for the Rams. People are kind of getting excited about this Lions defense. I'm not. At 51, I probably wouldn't go ahead and play. I think that's kind of the absolute max, maybe a half play. I'd go there 50.5. Sure, you can go ahead and probably put a little bit on that, but I really like the 50 at this spot. 51 obviously being a key number, but it's tough. It's a game with a huge spread. We'll see. A lot of times these huge spreads don't end up where they are, so maybe the Rams have to throw more, which helps us. Detroit could just try to run the ball a ton and see how that goes. But just to reiterate my point on Detroit's defense, they're bottom 5 EPA per play. Look at success rate. They're actually like top 10 in success rate. So it's just the big plays, and the Rams are good at hitting those big plays. San Fran's offense, I'd say above average. Green Bay, good. Baltimore, good. Chicago, bad. Minnesota, good. Cincinnati, average to good. So they have played some pretty good offenses. If they can limit big plays, this is going to be a tough number to get to. But the Rams are just a different animal. That Ravens game was weird. Sure, they stopped them, but when you look at like the elite offenses, and I think or good offenses this year, not elite. Sure, they give up 19 to Baltimore, but 35 to Green Bay, 41 to San Fran, 34 to Cincy, 19 against Minnesota. But Minnesota plays super conservative, so it's hard to judge that. I think the Rams have a good day today, and I think Goff and company, they're playing hard. I think we can get enough points to cover this number here. 34-17 is all I need to get to this over. 35-17, anything in that range. Philly and Vegas. Philly's in Vegas today. Vegas, a 2-point favorite. Total is 48.5. This number's gone down all week. This is a tough one. If you had value on Vegas, because their injuries are just the news today or yesterday. Darren Waller's questionable. He might not give it a go. It's tough. If Waller doesn't go, I don't like it. I think that's a big loss. But that being said, if he's good to go, I think two is kind of a ridiculous number. I'll monitor that as it gets to the point here. Philly, like, I just don't like this team. Anthony Harris questionable for them. Lane Johnson looks like he's back, which would be a help. So pretty healthy for the Phillies side of things. If Goddard plays, Vegas is pretty healthy as well. I don't know. I don't think these teams, like, I don't know. I think Vegas is better than Philly, and I don't necessarily think it's like that close. I think Vegas is about an average team. And I can't say that about Philly. Philly this offense, they Jalen Hurts has just not been good. Philly offense this year is, where are we here? Bottom third of the NFL in EPA per play. Success rate, same thing, bottom third, maybe closer to average there. Again, though, we have to let's go look at their schedule. Let me pull it up. It's a weird thing. Falcons defense bad. San Fran's defense. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a healthy corner in that game, so a little confusing how they didn't score. So I'd say that I'll give an average San Fran defense. Dallas's defense below average. Kansas City defense below average to bad. Carolina defense, I'll give them average. Tampa Bay defense below average. They've faced some below average defenses, and they haven't been anything special. Now, the Raiders defense is probably a little bit below average too. They get a ton of pressure, which is something that I do like to see. But I don't see why like we're excited here. I mean, this was 2.5 when I did these banners for the show. It's down to 2. Eagles, I guess, fit the teaser bill here, but I look at Vegas. From an offensive standpoint, and EPA per play this year, they're a little bit below average. Sure, success rate, they're well below average. So sure, you can say that these offenses are similar. Baltimore's defense, average-ish, maybe below average. I don't really know. Baltimore's had these weird things. Pittsburgh, good defense. Miami, not good. Chargers, average-ish. Bears defense, good. Broncos defense, good. So maybe adjust Vegas's defense up from that number, right? Like I have Vegas's offense. I have Vegas's offense about an average unit. I think Vegas's offense is better than Philly's. I think their defense is slightly better than Philly's. And Vegas is playing at home. And it's 2. I don't know. Maybe this is like last week. I thought the last week line against I know it was tough with the Gruden news and everything, but I thought last week's line was a little ridiculous for Vegas here. So I like Vegas. If Waller is out, I'm probably not touching this, but if we get a confirmed Waller in, I haven't been checking injury reports during the show here. That I personally think this Vegas number is pretty absurd. It's just, I don't know. It's if Waller's in, it's kind of tough. Total is what, 48.5. I think that's about fine. Definitely with the Waller news, I make this just over 49. Obviously, if he's out, that goes down. Yeah, Philly fits the teaser bill. I don't know. I'm not really, I guess, too interested in that game with a lot. How much, like, if Waller's in, this probably goes back up to 2.5. But yeah, I like the Raiders there. If Waller's in, I think the Raiders are worth the play. So Chicago, Tampa Bay, not going to spend too much time on this game. This is just going to be this has backdoor written all over it. But Tampa Bay -12, -11.5. Total is 47. I have, the only thing I have is a slight lean to the under in this game. Gronk out. They do get Antoine Winfield back, which is big. Antonio Brown out. OJ Howard is questionable. Richard Sherman, he wasn't really all that special. He's out as well. Levante David's out. Jason Pierre-Paul is questionable. So ton of injuries for Tampa Bay. I don't love when Antonio Brown is out. I think Antonio Brown unlocks like upper elite level of offense for Tampa Bay when he's out. They just are a great to maybe bottom tier elite offense. Like, you just can't stop him when Brown's in there. Like, there's just no way. Gronk's, a tough loss, but I'm not like shaking in my boots over that. Chicago, Akeem Hicks is downgraded out. That's a big loss. That's going to help Tampa Bay run the ball when they need to. Robert Quinn's out. Just a whole ton. Jimmy Grant's doubtful with COVID. Damon Williams, I don't know if there's going to be any other COVID. They have a couple guys in quarantine. Just not great. Khalil Mack is probable, but this has Tampa Bay keeping Chicago at an arm's length, essentially, in my head. Justin Fields has not been good. Matt Nagy is just like a lost cause at offensive coordinator. They don't use Fields' legs at all. Fields has made some great throws. He's also made some poor ones. So I don't know. If you take away, what was it, the first week that Fields played, he's been a little bit better, but nothing that I'm like super excited about. And I really, it's their game plan. So they're gonna have to throw a ton today. Obviously, that's how you beat Tampa Bay. You don't want to run. I know everybody's like, oh, they ran on Philly ran on them last week. Like, yeah, okay. Like Philly had a couple runs late in the game when they basically needed to stop running because the clock was getting down. But I don't know. The Bears, Fields, I don't like what they're doing with him. Obviously, the huge sack numbers in that one game against Cleveland. That was his first start. So since then, Detroit 11 of 17. He did throw an interception in that one. He did have some decent yardage on that 209 yards. Against Vegas, 12 of 20. Green Bay, 16 to 27. Again, the offense just isn't tailored for them. They don't run. They don't scramble them at all. So the sacks are still a problem. Does he hold on to the ball too long? Probably. He's a rookie. That's what you get. So nothing there for me. Spent too long in this game anyway. Green Bay or Chicago backdoor just has written all over in this game because I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be too aggressive in this one. Definitely. Bears defense has been sneaky good. Like I said, slight lean towards the under, but a lot of defense, a lot of injuries on the Bears side of things that I'm not interested at all in this game. So Houston and Arizona, another one I'm not really going to spend all that too much time on. Just another huge spread here, up to 19.5. This was 18 when I started the show, but 19.5 now, Arizona. Total's 47. I think this over has value if you weren't terrified of Arizona just punting it and not trying to push it late in the game, and Houston could just never score. But Chandler Jones is out. Rashard Lawrence, Kyle Pitts on the defense, out. Jordan Hicks is questionable. Kennard on the defense. Corey Peters, questionable. Vallejo, Zach Allen's questionable. A lot of questionable pieces on the defense. So if there's ever a time for Houston to be able to move the ball, it might be today against Arizona's defense. You still have the worry of he's not on the injury report at all, but there was that injury to Murray's shoulder. I don't think they're going to use him much today anyway because they should win this game without him. But he is kind of the engine that makes that team go. If he's not like full playing backyard football, Arizona really tends to struggle. Houston's injury report looks pretty good. Nico Collins, rookie wide receivers, questionable. Not really worried about that. Jaleel Johnson's out. But outside of that, they look solid. I make this game about 17 total. Again, I lean towards the over, but with how the game script goes, I don't want anything to do with it. So, but if you need to pick something in this game for like a spread pool or something, I guess if you can take the overs as well. I think the spread pool, it's probably Houston and the over if you're interested, but slightly lean towards the over. But I too many scenarios where this game turns into a blowout and you're betting on garbage, and I don't care to get involved there. Indy at San Fran. This was a play that the line early in the week, you could have got San Fran -3. I thought that was a bargain. It's 3.5 now. Could come back down to 3. I don't know. There's supposed to be some weather in this game. That's a concern here. Should be some heavy rain. They're projecting. Temperature 59, like 100% chance of rain. I'm looking at it right now. 10-mile-an-hour wind, which isn't bad, which is interesting because it's supposed to be windy. This is the Sunday night game. If it was during the day, you could have saw 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds. So this could have been a really tough game to score in. But San Fran now -3.5. This was 4 when I started. 42.5 is your total. Like I said, low total. Should be some ugly weather here. But I think San Fran, if it gets to 3, is worth a play. Jimmy G's back. He is expected to start, so that is, I think, a plus because Trey Lance just isn't it yet. I don't know. JaMychal Hasty is supposed to be back. They do lose Kinlaw. Trent Williams is doubtful. Sorry, Trey Lance is out. I forgot that he has the injury, so he's not ready anyway. This helps if you're looking to bet San Fran. I do like him as kind of that red zone option to switch it up, but Quan Williams probable as well. Marcel Harris is questionable. So for the most part, San Fran decently healthy, right? That's okay. Indy has been a thorn in my side all year. I don't really know what to make of this team. T.Y. Hilton is out. Braden Smith out. Jordan Wilkins out. Kamako Turi out. Rocky Sin out. Xavier Rhodes is probable. And Quentin Nelson is back, which is a big gain for them. But I bet against Indy when everybody's out. Kwity Paye, Rocky Sin, Quentin Nelson were out last, and they looked like world beaters a couple times. But I think San Fran, if this gets to 3, is worth a play. We'll see if it gets there. It looks like we're getting close. I don't know if we'll come back down to 3. Maybe the weather will make us, which makes me a little nervous. But yeah, I just don't think this team is good. I think they have an average to below average defense. I think they have a below average offense. I don't think Carson Wentz is good. We look at their offense this year. They've been playing better, but again, I don't think they've really been playing anyone. So it makes that it's kind of tough to say here. But yeah, they're top 10 in EPA per play. Again, they've been really good the last couple of weeks, but Seahawks defense, bad. Rams defense, I would say above average. Titans defense, bad. Miami's defense, bad. Baltimore averages. Houston, bad. And all of the success has come against Miami, Baltimore, and Houston. Not all of the success, but a lot of it. Miami, Baltimore, and Houston the last 3 weeks. Maybe this is Wentz and Reich kind of figuring things out and they're getting better. I don't know. I tend not to think so because I didn't think Wentz was that good when he was going to win MVP the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So I still think Indy's overrated. I don't think that offense is as good as what we think. San Fran's kind of weird. They've had a ton of injuries the whole time. The whole time they're 2-3. They're coming off the bye week though to help. I think they'll be schemed up to be able to move the ball against Indy here. So no worries for me. I think Indy or San Fran at -3. I think is worth a play here. If you are so inclined. New Orleans at Seattle, the Monday night game. I have this game exactly on market. Maybe no, I don't even have a slight lean. The number is technically a lean, but with where the prices are, no value there. We've seen some money come on Seattle this week. Geno Lewis looked terrible. Against Pittsburgh, he made Ben Roethlisberger look like the much better quarterback in the game, which is hard to do. I think this total is right. I think this number is right. Prime time in Seattle, sure, but yeah, I just don't. Geno Lewis against this defense just isn't a very good matchup. New Orleans, from an injury standpoint, Taysom Hill's out. Peyton Turner on defense is out. Dwayne Washington and Deontay Harris are out as well. Terron Armstead out. But outside of that, they're looking pretty solid. Seattle looks pretty good. Penny looks to be back. Darrell Taylor, Sidney Jones are questionable, as Damian Lewis and Alex Collins. But I think Alex Collins is going to give it a go based on what I heard yesterday. So, yeah, nothing there for me, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So, run back through the board one more time, and then I'll do a survivor pick at the end because why not? Cincinnati and Baltimore, I like the over at 45.5. Carolina and New York Giants, I like the under 42.5. It was like plus 102, plus 103 when I broke this game down. Plus money, I like the 42.5. I got the under 43 earlier in the week at elitesportsbetting.com. Green Bay and Washington, I don't really have anything in that game. I slightly lean towards Green Bay but the offensive line issues for Green Bay, I'm not interested. Kansas City at Tennessee plus 4, 57.5. Like I said, slight lean over. Yeah, slight lean over. That's all I have, but no thanks I'm interested to see how Chris Jones and that defense, if he can make that, if he's the key to making them a little bit better. Miami, plus 1.5. That's a good teaser leg. I played the under here, 47.5. I think that's still good. Miami's a good teaser leg up. I forgot I did this again. Green Bay, good teaser leg down. Some version of those two are probably, in my opinion, my two favorite teaser legs of the day. Philly's one to play later, but I'm not in love with that as much. Jets and Patriots, I played the under here at 43. Still think it's good to play there. I just don't see much success for Wilson. I think Mac Jones is getting too much respect in the market. So I like the under there. Rams and Lions, I played the over at 50 early in the week. I think 51 would be the absolute max, maybe at a half unit. 50.5 is okay. But I really liked it at the 50. Got to get down early in the week, right? Vegas down to -2. If Waller's in, it's probably goes back up to 2.5. But I really like the Vegas in that spot. I don't think this number makes much sense in my opinion. But Waller definitely needs to be in there. Total's 48.5. Yeah, it's about right for me with the Waller news. Philly's a good teaser leg up. Definitely if Waller is out. I don't know if this goes down to like 1, but if Waller's out and you can still get above the 7 through the 3 and the 7, get the plus 1.5 or plus 2 up to 7.5 or 8. I think Philly's a good teaser leg. You can pair that with Green Bay and Miami as well. So, yeah. I think those are solid. Tampa Bay and Chicago, I lean under here. Not a fan. Tampa Bay, a lot of injuries. Chicago, a lot of injuries. I'm just staying away, but I do lean under at 47. I don't think Tampa Bay pushes the envelope too much with how many injuries they have mounting up. Arizona and Houston, I lean over here, but I don't know if Houston's going to score. I don't know how much Arizona's going to really push things, but they have a ton of injuries as well, definitely on defense. I don't think I don't know if Houston can score, so a little nervous there. Indy at San Fran. San Fran, if it gets down to -3, I like them, but at the current prices, I don't love much. Supposed to be a ton of rain in that game too, so please be aware. So, Survivor. If you still have Tampa, I mean the Rams are the good pick, right? This is going to be like, in my opinion, Rams, Tampa, Arizona. Like Green Bay is is projected to be picked pretty high. Tampa is not, but Tampa has a ton of future value. Only thing is Tampa doesn't have a ton of future value in the next 2 weeks. So it's one of those things. You're at the point where it's really, you just need the win. So the Rams are probably your best pick. They're going to be high. If anybody has the Rams left, pick them. Basically, Tampa Bay, Arizona. The thing, Arizona probably going to be picked a ton today as well, because a lot of teams probably still have them. But the Rams don't have a ton of future value. Unfortunately, the Rams do play Houston next week, so they are going to have some value there. So if you have the Rams, I'd go to Rams. If you still have the Bucks, I'd go the Bucks. A lot of the Bucks future value is, again, like I said, not in the next 2, maybe even not in the next 3 weeks. So again, you still got to survive, right? Like you got to get your winners in. So yeah, I think the Rams, Bucks, Cardinals are your value picks. I'm not a huge fan of Green Bay. Honestly, if I'm picking Green Bay, I might pick Baltimore if I have them. Even though Baltimore's 6.5 point favorite, and Green Bay is an 8 point favorite, just because of what the pick percentages are looking. It looks like 19% for Green Bay and just over 1% for Baltimore. So similar expected value there, but I'd probably go Baltimore just to be a little contrarian. So those are my Survivor thoughts. Like always, EliteSportsBetting.com plays up in early in the week. College football up in early in the week. College football went, I guess it was a losing day yesterday to the Bama fourth quarter, which had 35 points scored, and the Ohio State second quarter, which Ohio State scored 30 points themselves. And there was a safety involved in that quarter, went over by 1 point. So that went 3-4 for college football. Could have been 5-2, but what can you do? I liked the like the sides that I was on there. Clemson sucks. But anyway, Frank and I, Wednesdays, breaking down the college football, giving out college football bets, breaking down a couple games. Wednesday, 10 a.m. opening line, EliteSportsBetting.com on Twitter, at Elite Betting on Twitch, Elite Sports Network on YouTube. Thursday, Ricky, Paulie, me, some combination of that on Lunch Money at EliteSportsBetting.com with Pilar, breaking down the NFL slate like I did just now. And then Duke and I, as always, tailgate teaser, Saturday mornings, college football. Might be a little bit different this week. Well, we don't know what we're doing this week, but we might be switching up with tailgate teaser. I went 14-6 yesterday in our contest for tailgate teasers. So that is it for me. Good luck on your bets today. I got 5 of them. 4 unders, 2 of which are under 45 points. So, 3 unders, 2 of which are under 45 points. So I'm sure it'd just be no way. But good luck on your bets today. Good luck on your bets until next time. And yeah, head over to EliteSportsBetting.com. Get all your needs, NBA plays. I'll be starting NBA up probably sometime in the next week. So yeah, it's getting fun. It's getting fun around here. We're getting all the sports going here. So until next week, adios.